Ahoy! Ryan Foland, Director of the Entrepreneur Center, and this is a quick video to get you trained up on the podcast equipment that you'll find in the podcast room at the Entrepreneur Center. First of all, we're looking at this amazing piece of technology. It's called the Rodecaster Pro 2. Now, this has lots of customization, but right now we're just going to talk about the meat and potatoes to get you up and running. The first thing that you're going to need is a micro SD. This is actually going to be helpful once it's turned on to put it into the memory. So I'm going to sit it right there. You are going to turn this on using this red button right here on the back. You're just going to do a long press. 1, 2, 3, let it go. And you will see that it starts to turn on. Now, while it's warming up, I'm going to go ahead and take this micro SD card. I'm going to push it and it's going to stick in. Now, you know that it's on because it's gotten all colorful here. To orient you with this, you have your main sliders here, which represent the audio levels of the different inputs. You can have up to 4 microphones. You can also plug in a guitar or another musical instrument if you want. But for the podcasting, we're just looking at these inputs here in 1 and 2. We're going to do this with a 2-person setup. And so we're going to make sure that the levels are in between these 2 tick marks up at the top. And you should start to see some movement on the actual screen, which is a touch screen, by the way. And this is where you would do your microphone check. Now, in addition to the microphone inputs, you have your audio outputs, which I've got these 2 connected here in relationship. So what's important about the headsets is that it helps you to actually hear your own sound of your voice and hear that of your guest. So right away, you'll hear or not in your ears, and that's where you want to use this panel up here in the top right-hand corner. It has a little icon for headphones, and you're going to adjust to your comfort level. Now make sure that you start low because the audio can get pretty high and it's a pretty jarring start to your podcast. So I suggest you take it down really low and then you make sure that the guest finds that's a good spot. It's usually at or below that first tick mark. Now, if you look at the screen, you'll be able to see the inputs that are coming in. So I'm here on mic number 1, and what we want to do is, again, have it up here to in between these 2 ticks. If you look down here, this is very important. With the green headphone that is on with a dark green, this means that you can hear yourself and your audio is being broadcast to the other headsets. If you push it and it looks like a dim off, see the difference between bright and dim? If it's a dim, then the other person won't be able to hear you, which is important. You want them to hear you. See the difference there? Dim and then bright. You want it to be on bright so that they can hear you. Now, next to it is a mute button. So when you click that, it shows that you're not recording that channel. And if you look here, you see that these other channels which we're not using, they all have the darker red. So the darker red is not good. If you look over here in the top left, the green recording button shows that you actually have a card in and that it's good to go. Watch what happens here if I take this card out. It turns purple, and that means that there's no SD card or it's not in all the way. So I'm going to find the SD card and I'm going to push it in. Now it's green. When you're ready to go and you have your audio in your headsets set to an appropriate level so that you can hear the other person and they can hear you, making sure that it's the bright green on both of these and that it's the muted red, not the bright red, you are ready to go. And a quick tutorial on microphones. You want to adjust it so that it's about 2 finger lengths from your mouth, and think about it like you're speaking down a paper towel roll. If I were speaking like this, that's not necessarily going to pick up the right. But if I'm speaking down into the paper towel roll, you're going to get that clean audio. If you want to record, you simply do a short push and it's red, and you'll see on the actual touchscreen, it starts to record. You'll see the levels, and this is where you're actually recording. If you do want to pause your recording, you can simply press it once very quickly and it'll turn into an orange. Then if you want to continue recording, you can press it again and it will be red. When you are done recording and you want to actually stop, it's a long hold and it'll go back to the green color. So that's what we've got for you, how to get set up. Another quick recap. Turn it on, make sure that you have the SD card in, make sure that your levels here on the microphones are in between the top 2 ticks. You have the bright green and the sort of lower or muted red buttons. You'll see the audio coming out, and then you press record and you're rocking and rolling. If you want to try out what this looks like, or if you want to start a podcast, come on down to the Entrepreneur Center and you can utilize this equipment and you can start.